Good afternoon. Just finishing up preparations to head over to Champaign and play Illinois. Feel good about our preparation thus far, and we know that we've got to go over there and play Illinois like the team that has played early in the year and has played at their best, because they are very capable of that, and they're a team that can score points, they can make threes, they can beat you off penetration. So our focus and our mindset defensively is going to be very important as we go into this game.
This team, it doesn't seem like, with the experience that they have, that it's even a concern that they might take Illinois lightly or not take them as serious as they should, considering the way they've been up and down. It seems that that's not something that you really have to worry about with this group.
I don't think in college basketball you can take anybody lightly. I think everybody's a different team every day that you play them, and you don't know what they could play like, and you've got to assume that they're going to play their best. I think our team has matured in that regard, although I don't think even a year ago there was any of those games that we took for granted. So we still have to keep that edge, and we have to keep that chip on our shoulder.
You mentioned them playing like the team they were at the beginning of the year when they beat guys like Butler and stuff like that. What's the difference between them when they're operating at their highest level, when they're winning games like that, and then when they aren't? I guess what's kind of the difference? What stands out when they're playing at their best?
Probably like a lot of us, they're making shots. When they're making shots and they're in their rhythm and they're playing the way that they want to play, they're probably playing better defensively, they're playing better on the backboards, those types of things. So you can't let them get into that rhythm. I think they're very capable offensively, and so they're going to even make tough shots, so you can't give them any of the easy shots.
You guys are halfway through the conference season now. How does the Big Ten stack up compared to what you were expecting from it going in, and how do you think the rest of how could it change from here on out?
Well, the Big Ten has always been a great league traditionally, and I would say that from top to bottom, it's probably as strong as it has ever been. I started coaching in the Big Ten in '93 and then followed it along the way, and it was very good back in '93. And I would say it's very similar to that. I know that early in the year, when we went and played at Iowa, we kind of escaped, I think it was written or said, and I felt like, I don't know about escaping at Iowa. I don't know how many teams are going to have a chance to go win in there, because I think everybody's really good at home. Kind of the same thing at Northwestern. When we hung on, I think, to beat Northwestern, and then they beat Minnesota, and then they beat Purdue at their place. So playing anybody on their home floor is tough, and you've got to be ready to play. And then at the same time, when you're playing on your home court, a really good opponent's coming in, and you've got to play well then also. So I would say that the league is as good as it's been in quite some time, but I think it's been good for a long time. It's just that from top to bottom now, there are some games where you're going to have to fight and scratch and claw, where some people think you should just win those games, and I think they're all difficult.
You talk about them maybe being at their best when shots are falling, and it seems like they're a team a lot of people just perceive anyway, that particularly when the three-pointer is falling, and particularly when Paul is scoring. I mean, how much does that change them when they can get Brandon Paul going, and when they can kind of get the outside shots falling early?
Well, one of the areas where they've really improved throughout this season, and even from a year ago, is the abilities of Egwu to step out and shoot that 17-foot jump shot, whether it's off the pick and pop or moving on penetration. He's gotten very good in that area, so that pulls your big guy out a little bit if your five-man is guarding him. So I think he's an important key to that. And then when you have Paul and you have Richardson, both those guys can get it going from the three-point line, and then you mix in Bertrand, who is as good a mid-range player as I think there is in college basketball. He's very good at getting into the middle and getting into the lane and either shooting the floater or the pull-up jump shot, so that adds another dimension to them as well. And Tracy Abrams is much more offensive-minded this year, scoring the ball even better than he did a year ago.
It's just how good is Brandon Paul when he's on? Obviously, you've seen him go off for 40 in games like that. I mean, just what impresses you when he's, again, operating at his highest level?
He's going to hit some shots where you're just going to shake your head and say, wow, I thought he was covered, and the defense played the coverage the right way if it's in the pick and roll, or you're getting back in transition and you're draped all over him and he can just rise up and shoot it. I don't think that he has a range. I think it's limitless. I think he can shoot the ball really deep, and when he's in that rhythm, anything that goes up there looks like it's going in. And so I would say he's probably as good a shooter or scorer as there is in the country when he's really got it going.
How do you feel like this team handles being number one?
it never really gets talked about. Every day we come in here, we just try to improve and get better. And I don't think any of that's changed from the time we got here 5 years ago. We've just been able to add to it with the depth of players that we have and how many guys are in doing extra things beyond what's required of them and making themselves better players. But they weren't just trying to achieve number one. I think they're trying to get better and improve on a daily basis, and if you do that, then you have opportunities to win in your league, you have opportunities to win in the postseason, and so I think everybody's pretty much been focused on that, and Coach always does a great job of keeping everybody grounded and keeping us on task.
For so long, this team had so much trouble winning on the road, and I know it's different teams and different talent levels and all that stuff there, but I mean, the fact that you've been able to win your first 4 on the road and you're going for the 5th, I mean, is that somewhat of a mindset, getting over that as far as playing on the road?
Probably to a degree, but it doesn't really matter how many you've won in a row. The next one is a new one, it's a different game, it's a different place, it's a different team. You don't know which team you're going to get when you go there to play, so you've got to have a great defensive mindset, you've got to have an edge, you've got to have a toughness to you. For us, you know, the things we're emphasizing, we've got to take care of the basketball, we've got to rebound the basketball, we've got to do a good job of guarding our man +1. You know, we've got to help. And if we do that, then we feel like we have an opportunity to win no matter where we go play.
I have time for one more for Tim, and I'll bring you.
How valuable, I mean, and maybe not even talking about the result, but just the atmosphere and I guess having to go to a place like Purdue and then performing the way you did, how valuable was that when you know you've got trips to Illinois, to Michigan State, to some of these, I guess, what are perceived as much more harsh road environments coming up?
I don't know if that helps you at all, having the experience, other than knowing what your mindset was going into that game and having the same mindset when you go play in that other arena. We know that all the crowds, no matter where we go, they're going to be difficult to play in front of, they're going to be hostile, and you've got to block all that out, and you've got to play with the 4 other guys that you're with on the floor and the other guys that are on the bench, and they've got to be prepared to play. So I think our mindset is very important as we go through it, and you can't take it for granted that you played well at Purdue, so obviously you're going to play well at Illinois. You've got to be prepared for that game, and our preparation has been the key all year, and we've got to have great preparation going into this one.
Thanks a lot.